everybody, and welcome to this video. They've revised the Artificer. Wizards has finally blessed us with the new and revised, potentially improved Artificer, which we have not seen in quite some time. Uh, for a little bit of background, I am a huge Artificer fan. I originally got into D&D because I picked up the original Eberron books for 4th edition, and I fell in love with the Artificer. I've always wanted to play the class properly. Never really got to play it much at all in 4th edition. And when 5th edition rolled around, I decided to roll with test material, and I took like a couple levels in the Artificer and then like immediately went into Fighter because it just wasn't very viable by itself. The way the spells worked, your buffs that you got over time really wasn't very good. So this is going to be, I've kind of skimmed through the document a little bit, but this is going to be my breaking down of the Artificer class and my opinions of it, because I really want this to work, and we'll see what it's got. Uh, we'll see what we have here with the new revised Artificer. Masters of unlocking magic in everyday objects, artificers are supreme inventors. They see magic as a complex system waiting to be decoded and controlled. Artificers use tools to channel arcane power, crafting temporary and permanent magical objects. To cast a spell, an artificer could use an alchemist supply to create a potent elixir, calligraphy supply to inscribe a sigil of power on an ally's armor, or tinker's tools to craft a temporary charm. The magic of artificers is tied to their tools and their talents. So really hyping up the roleplay aspect of this right off the bat, where basically you use your tools to implement your magic. It isn't just wata, you cast a spell, you are actively using something to create a magical effect with your tools. At least that's what I'm getting out of it. Arcane science in the world of Eberron. Does that mean we're going to be getting an Eberron setting soon? I'm not going to lie, that'd be awesome. In the world of Eberron, magic arcane has been harnessed in the form of science and deployed throughout society. Artificers reflect this development, their knowledge of magical devices and their ability to infuse mundane items with magical energy allows the grand magic projects of Eberron to continue running. During the last war, artificers were marshaled on a massive scale. Many lives were saved because of the inventions of great artificers, but also countless lives were lost because of the mass destruction that artificers' creations unleashed. So, a lot of hype on both being a support and a pretty good fighting class. Seekers of lore, nothing excites an artificer quite like uncovering new metal or discovering a source of elemental energy. In artificer circles, new inventions and strange discoveries create the most excitement. Artificers who wish to make a mark must find something fresh rather than uncover someone else's work. This drive for novelty pushes artificers to become adventurers. Eberron's main travel routes and populated regions have long since been explored. Thus, artificers take to the edge of civilization in hopes of making the next great discovery in arcane research. Creating an artificer. When creating an artificer background, think about what your character background and drive for the adventure. Does the character have a rival? Very basic stuff. We're going to go ahead and skip past to this next bit. Artificers in other worlds. Eberron is the most associated with artificers, yet the class is found in the multiverse. In the Forgotten Realms, for instance, the island of Lantan is home to many artificers. I'm going to have to look that up. I'm not familiar with that one. In Dragonlance, Tinker Gnomes are most members of this class. Strange technology in the Barrier Peaks in the world of Greyhawk, etc., 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 etc. Oh, the Izzet League from Ravnica. Cool. Okay, class features. Hit dice is 1d8 per artificer level, 8 plus your constitution, with an average of 5 plus your constitution modifier every level past the first. Proficiencies: light armor, medium armor, and shields. Simple weapons: hand crossbows and heavy crossbows. Okay. This is slight. Okay, I'm going to come back to this. Thieves' tools, Tinker's tools, one type of artisan's tools of your choice is your tools setting, saving throws, constitution, and intelligence. Pick 2 from Arcana, History, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, Perception, or Sleight of Hand. Okay, that's interesting. Starting equipment with any 2 simple weapons, Fair enough. A light crossbow, studded leather armor, or scale mail, thieves' tools, and a dungeoneer's pack. Alrighty. So you may forego the starting equipment for the so-and-so. Firearm proficiency. The creation and operation of gunpowder weapons have been discovered in various corners of D&D multiverse. If your dungeon master uses the rules on the firearms in the DMG, your artificer may be exposed to the operation of such weapons, and your artificer is proficient in them. Okay, so there's that. I was a little worried at first, but I'm glad that this is in here because one, guns are officially part of D&D, not just in the DMG. You have that in spoilers, it's in Dragon Heist. One of the missions involves finding, I think it's a elven assassin who has a freaking poison gun, which that's that's stinking amazing, and it packs a wallop. So I'm not entirely sure why they're doing the whole optional rule and not just kind of including it in there, because if anybody would be likely to have guns, it would be the Artificer. But anyway, moving right along to magical tinkering. At first level, you learn how to invest a spark of magic in objects that would otherwise be mundane. To use this ability, you must have thieves' tools, tinker's tools, or other artisan tools in hand. So whatever your spellcasting focus of tools may be. Touch a tiny, non-magical object, such as an action, and give it one of the following magical properties of your choice. An object has a bright light in a 5-foot radius and dim light at an additional 5-foot radius. So it's not even a headlamp. I mean, I'm thinking the first thing that comes to mind is flashlight. But a flashlight can typically, well, I guess depending on where you get it, it might be a bit stronger or a bit weaker. I guess that makes sense. So essentially, you create a flashlight. Whenever tapped by a creature, the object emits a recorded message that can be heard up to 10 feet away. You utter the message when you bestow the property on the object, and the recording can be no more than 6 seconds long. This is me talking, and I'm trying to get something across, and there we go. So, I don't know. You might be able to get maybe a single sentence out, too, if you're fast. The way this is a standard recording. I can kind of see this, especially if at your table you have like your phone and just record your message, and then just you have the message there. I'm not getting information across the battlefield. Maybe having, well, it depends on how long it would last too. Anyway, the others. The object continuously emits your choice of an odor or nonverbal sound, wind, waves, chirping, birds, or the like. The chosen phenomenon is perceivable up to 10 feet away. Okay, now, I can see this as being like a dirty a smell bomb. Like, I can see this being very, very nasty and very, not quite crowd control, but definitely something that can be done as a distraction or as harassment. And it just always does that. So, it would be nonverbal. So that that kind of limits what all it could be, but it's still fairly interesting. We're gonna skip over this because we're gonna continue reading the rest of the document. So there we go. Final one is going to be a static visual appears on one of the object's surfaces. This effect can be a picture or up to 25 words of text, lines and shapes, or a mixture of these elements of the like. Okay, so if it's something as tiny, does that count as like a book or a piece of paper or a mirror? Because what I'm imagining, honestly, is okay. Now, depending on how many of these you can do, okay, let's see. Treasure property lasts indefinitely, so that's good. As an action, you can touch an object in the property early. You can give the magic of this feature to multiple objects, touching one object each time you use the feature. A single object can bear only one of the properties at a time. The maximum number of objects is equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of one object. If you try to exceed the maximum, then it ends immediately. So let's assume you have a +5 intelligence early on. At the minimum, depending on rolls, you would be able to get at least a +4. So with 4 of these, what I can see, and this is just me, what I can see is first of all, you can have 4 pages of a book. You just have like 4 pieces of parchment, and then you just have that in, like, you clip them, you would be able to clip them into the binder, but you enchant the pages separately, and they could be like a map, it could be notes, it could be any number of things, or a multi-tool sort of thing where you have like different sides of this cube, but you like pull off squares of it, and you enchant the squares, but it affixes to the cube, so depending on what side of the cube you show would have that different effect. Anyway, that's just my thinking. I think this ability, Magical Tinkering, is interesting. I kind of feel like there only being 4 known effects is very limiting. I would encourage players and DMs to try to think of other things you could do outside the box of this. Because considering at most you could ever have is just 5 effects, I feel that this has a lot of potential, especially since it's non-combat. But you get spellcasting at level 1. You've studied the workings of magic, how to channel it through objects, and how to awaken it within them. As a result, you have gained a limited ability to cast spells. So observers, you don't appear to be casting spells in your conventional way. You look as if you're producing wonders through various items. So again, based off of your tools or something you're making, you'll be able to cast a spell. Tools required. You may cast artificer spells through your tools. You have spellcasting focus, specifically thieves tools, or some kind of artisan's tools in hand whenever you cast any spell with spellcasting feature. You must be proficient in the tool. See so and so. You gain Infuse item feature at 2nd level. You can use any item bearing one of your infusions as a spellcasting focus instead. That's interesting. So if you create an item with your infused magic, you can then use that item to cast a spell. Interesting. Cantrips. We got cantrips, y'all. We got cantrips. The Artificer has cantrips. Thank you so much for giving the Artificer cantrips. At 1st level, you learn 2 cantrips from the spell list below. At higher levels, you learn additional cantrips of your choice, shown in the cantrips known column of the Artificer table. Whenever you gain a level in class, you can replace one of the Artificer cantrips you know with another cantrip of the spellcaster's choice. Interesting. So every time you level, if you're not happy with... Okay, so they kind of... Can warlocks do that? I don't think warlocks can swap out their cantrips. If they can, I'll have to double check just to be sure. But that's interesting, to where you're not locked into the same cantrips if you just never end up using it. Preparing and casting spells. The Artificer shows how many spell slots you have to cast your Artificer spells. To cast one of your Artificer spells at 1st level or higher, you must expend a spell slot of the spell's level or higher. You regain all spell slots after you finish a long rest, standard. You prepare a list of Artificer spells that are available for you to cast, choosing from the Artificer spell list. So you don't have known spells, you have all spells available to you, but you have to prep a list first. When you do so, choose a number of artificial spells equal to your intelligence modifier plus half your Artificer level, rounded down, minimum of 1 spell. So, would that be 0 at level 1? That's hard for me to remember. The spells must be at the level for which you have spell slots. Okay. For example, you're a 5th level Artificer. You have 4 level 1 spells and 2 level 2 spells with intelligence modifier of +2. Your spells prepared can include 4 levels, 4 1st level, or 2nd level in any combination. You must prepare the 1st level spell Cure Wounds. You can cast it using a 1st or 2nd level slot. Casting the spell doesn't remove it from your list of prepared spells. You can... Okay, casting the spell doesn't remove it from your list of prepared spells. So that would mean... Okay, you can change your list of prepared spells when you finish a long rest. Preparing a new list of Artificer spells requires time spent in tinkering with your spellcasting focus, at least 1 minute per spell level of each spell on your list. Okay. Spellcasting ability is intelligence +8 plus your proficiency. Ritual casting, you cast a ritual spell as a ritual spell tag. Artificer spell list. Here we go. Organize spell level, not character level. If a spell can be cast as a ritual tag appears under the name. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at the cantrips. Acid Splat. Okay, they've given them a damaging cantrip. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I could not tell you how annoying it was. I had a gunsmith Artificer way back when, and I had no damaging cantrips. And it was really frustrating because well, I'm a smart boy, and yet I can't, and I have a gun, but I can't figure out how to pew pew with magic. So cantrips at all are a huge good thing, but damaging cantrips is a awesome thing. And we have acid splash, dancing like fire bolts, guidance light, mage hand message, mending, poison spray, prestidigitation, ray of frost, resistance, shocking grasp, spare the dying, thorn whip. Kind of surprised thaumaturgy is not on there, because with the whole visual, audio, and minor effects of thaumaturgy, that almost feels like it should go in hand with the Artificer. First level spells, we have Alarm, very basic, Arcane Weapon, see the end of the document, Cure Wounds, Detect Magic, Disguise Self, Expeditious Retreat, False Life, Grease, Identify, Jump, Longstrider, Sanctuary, and Shield of Faith. Arcane Weapon, I believe, is a damaging spell, but I don't think there's actually any other damaging. No, this is very similar to the first rule set, where there's several rituals, there's several other spells, but nothing that is actually a damaging spell. Second level, Aid, Alter Self, Arcane Lock, Blur, Continual Flame, Dark Vision, Enhanced Ability, and Large Reduce, Heat and Metal, Invisibility, Lesser Restoration, Levitate, Magical Mouth, Magical Weapon, Protection from Poison, Rope Trick, See Invisibility, and Spider Crime. So, Heat Metal and Magic Weapon, two potential damaging spells. Third level, you have Blink, Dispel Magic, Elemental Weapon, Fly, Gaseous Form, Glyph of Warding, Haste, Protection for the Energy, Revivify, Water Breathing, Water Walk. Again, one potential damaging spell. Arcane Eye, Fabricate, Freedom of Movement, Leomund's Tiny Chest, Mordekainen's Faithful Hound, and Private Sanctum. Otiluk's Resilient Sphere, Stone Shape, and Stone Skin. So I don't think any of those are damaging spells off the top of my head. Then fifth level, we have Animate Objects, again, potential. Bigby's Hand, Creation. I'm not familiar with that one off the top of my head. Greater Restoration, and Wall of Stone. So again, at least you got cantrips. So at least the Artificer has cantrips, and you would be able to you'd be able to do some damage if your subclass doesn't do the rest of the work for you. So, see, this is what I'm not getting so far. They built them up as being very good, being able to help others, which I see that in the spell list, but they didn't put hardly anything in the their great juggernauts of death or whatever. Maybe we'll see it in the subclass. The magic of Artifice. As an Artificer, you use tools to cast your spells. When describing your spell casting, think of how you would use a tool to perform the spell's effect. If you cast Cure Wounds using Alchemist supplies, you can quickly produce a salve. If you cast it using Tinker's tools, you might have a miniature mechanical spider that binds wounds. When you cast Poison Spray, you could fling out foul chemicals or use a wand that spits venom. The effect of the spell is the same for a spellcaster, but the method of spellcasting is special. Again, really leaning heavy into the roleplay aspect of all this, which I think is perfectly fine. Like, I could definitely see, like, Disguise Self, you could have, like a belt, that you, like, hit a button on the belt and, like, and it disguises you. Identify, I've always had Identify be like, dee 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 dee, like your eyes go in, like, a black grid, and, like, scans everything. So that's cool. I can see that working. So every time you cast a spell, it has to be through an implement. It has to be through some sort of device. I like that as an idea. The same principle applies when you prepare your spells. As an artificer, you don't study a spell book or pray to prepare your spells. Instead, you work with your tools to create specialized items you'll use to produce these effects. You replace Cure Wounds with Shocking Grasp. You might break down the device used to heal to create an offensive item in its place. Perhaps a gauntlet that lets you channel a surge of energy. Again, I'm all for this. I think it's really cool. Such details don't limit you in any way or provide you with any benefits. You don't have to justify how you're using a tool to cast a spell, but describing your spell casting creatively is a fun way to distinguish yourself from the other spellcasters. I'm all for this. In some circles and in some tables that I've seen, I can definitely see a DM being a bit of a jerk about this. And you say, well, I have all of my spells are done with these different screws and stuff I have on a gauntlet, and then he just takes the gauntlet. How is that fair? Happens more often than you think. Infuse item at second level. You gain the ability to imbue mundane items with certain magical infusions. The magical items you create with this feature are effectively prototypes of permanent items. Very interesting. When you gain this feature, pick 3 Artificer infusions. Learn from the Artificer infusions section at the end of the class description. It's at the very bottom of the page, so we'll come back to infusions whenever we get to that list. You learn additional infusions at later levels. Whenever you gain a level, you can replace one of the Artificer infusions you learned with a new one. Infusing an item. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch a non-magical item and imbue it with one of your Artificer infusion, turning it into a magical item. An infusion only works on certain kinds of objects as specified in the infusion's description. If it requires attunement, you can attune to it or forego the attunement so that someone else can attune to it instead. When you decide to attune to an item later, you must use the normal attunement rules. The infusion remains in an item indefinitely, but when you die, the infusion vanishes after a number of days have passed, equal to your intelligence modifier. So I was an extremely smart person, so it'll, after 5 days, then it'll vanish. The infusion also vanishes if you give up one of your knowledge of the infusion for another one. That's fair. You can infuse more than one non-magical object at the end of a long rest. Maximum number of objects appears on the infused items column of the Artificer table. So yeah, that was on the chart earlier. You must touch each one of the objects, and each of your infusions can only be one object at a time. So I can't like double down on the same kind of. I can't double down on a specific infusion. That makes sense. If you try to exceed your maximum number, the oldest one dies immediately, and then the new one starts. Artificer Specialist. Your third level, you choose a specialist, the Alchemist or the Artillerist. I'm not seeing a gun mage, which kind of is a little concerning. Each of which is at so-and-so. Variant Crafting. Artificer subclass allows you to be more efficient at crafting certain items. The feature you get from your subclass works whenever you're using the crafting rules for the player's handbook or Xanathar's guide. Okay. Okay, yeah, now I'm getting it. Because they did put crafting and building rules in those books, and you would be able to, because you are a artillerist or an alchemist, you would be able to be better either or of those. Tool expertise, you gain a proficiency bonus. Double your ability check used for your proficiency with that tool. Very interesting. Ability score improvement at 4, 8, 12, 16, and 19. Arcane Armament. Starting at 5th level, you can attack twice. Thank you very much. Rather than once whenever you take the attack action in your turn, but one of the attacks must be with a magical weapon, the magic of which you use to propel the attack. The right cantrip for the job, level 10. You gain the ability to make sure you have the right magical tool for a job. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you can replace one of the Artificer cantrips you know with another from the Artificer list. So not just limited to what you do at every time you level up. Every rest after 10th level, you're set. You can just modify what you need when you need it. Spell storing item, level 18. Whenever you reach level 18, you can store a spell and an object for repeated use. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one simple or martial weapon or an item that you can use as a spellcasting focus and store a spell in it, choosing one first or second level spell from the Artificer spell list that requires one action. You don't need to have the spell prepared. With the object in hand, a creature can take an action to produce the spell's effect from it using the spellcasting ability modifier. The spell stays in the object until it has been used a number of times equal to twice your intelligence modifier, or until you use this feature again. Okay, and how many you learn? Okay, so you can only spell storing item one item at a time, and first or second level, at twice your ability modifier all that time, it would be at least 10 times. So 10 times you would be able to cast anything from this list, between first and second level. I can see invisibility being useful. I can see enlarge reduce, maybe. And I can see cure. There it is. That's the big one right there is cure wounds. Because if you just have 10 castings of cure wounds, I don't care what anyone says. That is really good. but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure what else there could be that would be ultimately useful. Grease, Identify, Jump, Longstrider, Sanctuary, Shield of Faith. I mean, anything that you would be able to use 10 times. I mean, Invisibility is obviously a good one, but at level 18, that's kind of a. I don't know. Like, Invisibility is always going to be good, but at level 18, there's gonna probably be a lot of stuff that could definitely do some damage to you or be able to see you regardless of your regardless of whether you're invisible or not. And then AoE damage. AoE doesn't care if you're invisible. So there you go. Not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that maybe this is coming about 4 to 6 levels too late. But that's just me. Soul of the Artifice, the ultimate. At level 20, your understanding of magic items is unmatched, allowing you to mingle your soul with items linked to you. You can attune up to 6 magic items at once. In addition, you gain a +1 to all saving throws per magic item you currently attune to. And this is a bleed over from the original Artificer that they put out, where basically you double the amount of magic items you can get, and you get all those bonuses. The problem is, unless you are rolling, and I mean rolling, in magic items, that you're going to need a magic item that is ultimately different in every way and still be something you can do, because you can only do light and medium armor and shields, so that gives 1 armor, 1 shield, 1 weapon, because I doubt you're going to be dual wielding weapons, and then that leaves 3 other for 1 pair of boots, 1 hat, and 1 belt or 1 other thing. Like, it's going to have to be very diverse, and that's also including if the rest of the party does not want anything. This is a cool idea, but I think it's a little overhyped for a level 20 character. But that's just me. Maybe I would be totally down for seeing someone else being able to run something with Soul Artifice properly. I just don't see how it could be done, at least right now. And moving on to the Artificer Specialists. Variety of disciplines. Here are 2 specialist options you can choose at 3rd level. Maybe we'll get more in the future. The Alchemist. The Alchemist is an expert on combining exotic reagents to produce mystical effects as well. Among Artificer's members of the subclass are the greatest healers as well as the most adept in wielding dangerous chemicals. Makes sense. Tools of the trade. At 3rd level, you're deeply familiar with employing his tools. You gain proficiency in the Alchemist supplies and the herbalism kit, assuming you don't already have them. You also gain Alchemist supplies and a herbalism kit for free, the result of your tinkering you've done as you prepared for the specialization. Crafting. You can craft a magical item on the potion category. It takes you a quarter of the normal time and costs you half as much. Very useful for those who want to make potions, especially whenever there's not a dedicated healer. Alchemical spells. Starting at 3rd level, you always have a certain spells prepared after you reach certain levels of this class, shown in the Alchemist spell table. These spells count as Artificer spells for you, but they don't count against the number of Artificer spells you prepare. And we get Purify Food and Drink and Ray of Sickness, Melf's Magic Arrow, Stinking Cloud, Blight, and Cloud Kill. Okay. I take back what I said. You get specific spells that do more damage depending on your subclass. That's awesome. Okay, Alchemical Homunculus. At 3rd level, you learn the ancient methods for creating a special homunculus that is formed with alchemical substances. Whenever you finish a long rest and your alchemist supplies are with you, you can form this homunculus in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of you. If you already have a homunculus, the first one dies immediately because that's the way it does, like Equality Exchange and all. The homunculus is friendly to you and your companions and obeys your commands. This uses the game statistics as the homunculus stat block. You determine the homunculus appearance, which includes wings and bits of alchemical equipment. Some alchemists prefer mechanical-looking birds, whereas others like winged vials or miniature cauldrons. Alright? In combat, the homunculus shares your initiative count, but takes its turns immediately after yours. The only action it can take during its turn is dodge, unless you use a bonus action on your turn to command it to take one of its actions, or take the dash, disengage, or help. So, Help gives something advantage. So if you just sacrifice your bonus action to give yourself advantage, that's actually not too bad. In combat, blah blah blah. If the mending spell is cast on it, it regains 2d6 hit points. If it has died within the last hour, you can use the alchemist supplies as an action to revive it, provided you're within 5 feet of it and you expel a spell slot of first level or higher. The homunculus returns to life with all its hit points restored. Cool. 13 natural armor. It is a tiny little construct. Hit points equal to 5 times your level in this class, plus your intelligence modifier. Third level, let's assume you have a +4, and then third level times 5, 15, +4, so 19. At max level, that would be 20 times... wow. At max level, that's actually not too bad. 5 times your level of this class at... Ooh. 20 times, well, at that, let's just keep it at 4. 4 times 20 is going to be 80. That's 180 hit points for a little guy. That's kind of awesome. Immune to acid and poison, immune to charn, exhaust, and poison, dark vision at 60. Understands the language you speaks, but apparently no spoken language. Might of the Master. The following number increases by 1 when your proficiency skill increases by 1. Homunculus skill bonuses and bonuses to hit damage of its acidic spittle. Ah, okay. Acidic spittle, +4 hit, range of 30 feet, 1 target you can see, 1d6 +2 acid damage. Alchemical salve produces a salve and touches 1 creature you designate. The target receives one of the following magical benefits: buoyancy, okay, flying speed of 10 feet or for 10 minutes. Inspiration, target feels giddy and effective, gaining advantage on certain ability checks for the next hour. The target chooses the check before or after rolling. The magic runs out when the target has used it. Number of checks equal to your intelligence modifier. Gaining advantage on a certain ability check. I read that wrong. Resilience, gain a number of temporary hit points equal to 2d6 plus your intelligence modifier. Well, that's interesting. Although at level 20 and none of that gets any boosts, that's a little bit bleh, but whatever. Level 6 for Alchemical Mastery. Your command of the magical chemicals have become matchful, enhancing the healing and damage you create through them. Whenever you cast a spell with your alchemist supplies as a spellcasting focus, you gain a bonus to 1 roll of the spell. The roll must restore hit points or deal damage that deals acid or poison damage, and the bonus equals your intelligence modifier, minimum of 1. In addition, you can cast Lesser Restoration without expending a spell slot, providing you use Alchemist supplies to spellcasting focus. You can do this a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier. Hello. This is immediately useful. At 6th level, and you can cast at least 4 Lesser Restorations. That can get rid of a lot of problems. Chemical Savant at 14th level, you have been exposed to so many chemicals and unlock their secrets that they pose little risk to you, and you can use them to quickly end certain ailments. You gain resistance to acid and poison, and are now immune to the poison condition. In addition, you can cast Greater Restoration once without expending a spell slot, providing the material components, provided you use the alchemist supplies to spellcasting focus. You regain this ability whenever you use a long rest. A free casting of Greater Restoration, not going to argue with that, and that appears to be everything for the alchemist. And now we have the Artillerist. Specializes in using a magic to create explosions and defensive positions, as well as in magic-infused sidearms, especially ones that can be used on the battlefield. Artillerists are valued by all armies in the last war. Tools of the trade. By the time you adopt the specialty at 3rd level, you gain deeply familiar with employing its tools. Proficiencies. You are good with smith's tools and woodcarver's tools, assuming you don't already have them. You gain one of these tools for free. In addition, whenever you Gain the ability to use rods, stabs, and wands as spellcasting focuses for your Artificer spells. You also gain a non-magical wooden wand for free, which you've carved in your spare time. Okay. Crafting. You craft a magical item in the wand category. It takes quarter and half time and money. So you are gain the ability to learn how to create wands, which there are a lot of cool wands out there. Don't get me wrong. Just artillery that's not the first thing that comes to mind. Starting at 3rd level, you have gained certain spells. You gain Shield and Thunder Wave, Scorching Ray and Shatter, Fireball, Wind Wall, Ice Storm, Wall of Fire, Cone of Cold, and Wall of Force. Yes, the base class is not where all the magic is. It is in the side class. So if you're going deep into an Artificer, stay deep in an Artificer, because, oh boy, that looks like fun. Arcane Turret, level 3. Whenever you at level 3, you learn to create a magical turret. With your smith tools in hand, you can take an action to magically summon a medium turret in an unoccupied space on a horizontal surface within 5 feet of you. Horizontal, vertical. Oh, horizontal surface. The turret is a magical object that takes up the space and has crab-like legs, has an AC of 18 and a number of hit points equal to 5 times your artificer level. It is immune to poison damage, psychic damage, and all conditions. If it is forced to make an ability check, treat all ability scores as 10. If the mending spell is cast, it regains so-and-so. If it appears after 10 minutes, you can dismiss it as an action. When you summon a turret, you decide what type of turret it is, choosing your options for the Arcane Turrets table. Each of your turns, you can use a bonus action to cause a turret to activate if you're within 60 feet of it. As part of the same action, you can direct the turret to walk or climb up to 15 feet into an unoccupied space. You summon 1 turret for free and must finish a long rest before doing so again. You can also summon a turret by expending a spell slot or higher. If you summon a second turret, the first turret disappears. As an action, you can command your turret to detonate within 60 feet of it. Doing so destroys the turret and forces each creature within 10 feet of it to make a dex save, taking 3d6 force damage on a failed save and half as much on a successful one. So, now we have the turrets, and I see a flamethrower. Exhales fire in an adjacent 50-foot cone that you designate. Each creature that in that area must make a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC, taking 1d8 fire damage or half as much as so-and-so. Fire ignites on flammable surface. Force Ballista, make a ranged spell attack, originating from the turret, 120 feet, 2d8 force damage, and is pushed 5 feet away from the turret. Or Defender, burst of positive energy that grants itself and each creature with temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your intelligence modifier. So so one, we have the AoE, then we have the long shot, and then we have the heal bot. So that's interesting, and it can last for 10 minutes. If you just have it sitting there constantly spitting out HP, I can definitely see that. And that's at level 3. Wand prototype. By 6th level, you now regularly experiment with channeling different types of magic through wands. Whenever you finish a long rest, your woodcarver's tools are with you. You can touch a non-magical wooden wand and turn it into a magic item. When you do so, invest it with 1 artificer cantrip of your choice, even one you don't know, that has a casting time of 1 action. As an action, you can use the magic wand to produce the cantrip using your spellcasting ability modifier. The wand loses the magic whenever you finish your next long rest. That's not bad. Any damage roll you make for a cantrip gains a bonus equal to your intelligence modifier. Whenever you reach 14th level, you can invest 2 cantrips at the end of a long rest. So you can just, okay, that's not bad. At 14th level, you can just have 1 wand with Ray of Frost and Ray of Sickness. That's not bad. It's interesting. Fortified position. Starting at 14th level, you're a master of conjuring well-defended emplacement. You and your allies have half cover, while within 10 feet of a turret, you create the Arcane Turret as a result of a shimmering field of magic protection that the turret emits. You can now summon a second turret for free and finish a long rest. For doing so, you can summon the second turret while the first is still present. First does not disappear, and each turret will be different. Can be of a different type. Moreover, you can use 1 bonus action to activate both turrets. That's good. That is very nice. You and your allies have half cover while within 10 feet of a turret you create. That's the tipping point. for this specific subclass. It's interesting. It's good. At 14th level, you just like summon two turrets, one to heal you or two to heal you, two artillery. My only problem is that they actively do not get any stronger at all. I feel like at 14th level, your 14th level turret is going to be much more powerful than your third level turret. And I feel that that definitely needs to be part of it. Artificer Infusion. Here we go. All the way back up to the top of the document. Artificers have numerous magical infusions that rapidly create magical items. To the untrained artificers, may seem like wonder workers accomplishing in hours what needs to be done in weeks to complete. The description of each infusion tells you the type of item you can receive. The description also tells you of the resulting magic item requires attunement. Okay. Some infusions specify a minimum artificer level. You can't learn such an infusion until you're at least at that level, unless that infusion description says otherwise. You can't learn the infusions more than once. Boots of the Winding Path. A pair of boots requires attunement. Whenever you wear these boots, a creature can teleport up to 15 feet as a bonus action in an unoccupied space a creature can see. The creature must have occupied that space at some point during the current turn. The creature must have occupied that space at some point during this current turn. So you can't just teleport away. This is more running. Well, this is a free disengage, to be perfectly honest. This is a disengage. You run your full distance. You. Honestly, I can see that in several different ways. If you let's say that you were on top of like a tree or something, you jump down, you hit somebody, bonus action, you teleport back up to the tree. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. You're able to like blink back after doing an effect. Enhanced defenses, suit of armor or shield. The creature gains a +1 bonus to the armor. Wearing the armor or the shield of the Infused does not require attunement, and it increased to 2 when you reach 12th level. Enhanced weapon, same deal. Many-handed pouch. 4th level Artificer, 2 to 5 pouches. Infused pouches all share one interdimensional space with the same capacity as a single pouch. Thus, reaching into any of the pouches allows access to the same storage space. A pouch operates as long as within 100 miles of each other. One of the pouches is otherwise empty. Won't accept any contents. If the infusion ends, the item stored. Okay, so it doesn't create a bag of holding, but it creates a network of pouch holding, I'm assuming. Also, what can be considered a pouch can be left up to interpretation. I can honestly see this as having like a a backpack that just has like everybody's stuff crammed in it, and then everyone just pulls all the stuff out of that. Although that's kind of stretching the definition. Radiant Weapon, level 8 Artificer. A simple or martial weapon requires attunement. It's a +1 to attack and damage. When holding it, it can take a bonus action to cause it to shed bright light. The wielder can extinguish the light as a bonus action, so the Sunblade sort of. As a reaction, immediately after being hit by a melee attack, the wielder can cause the attacker to be blinded until the attacker's next turn, unless they save a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. Once used, this reaction can't be used until it finishes a short or long rest. So, interesting. I kind of feel that at level 8, that's a little underwhelming. Although blinding someone's not bad, but whenever you get Constitution saves and throw, anything past level 5 for Constitution is typically really stinking high. So unless it's a very unlucky roll, I don't see the blind ability going off very much. This is like a B tier infusion skill in my opinion. Replicate magic item. See below. Using this infusion, you replicate a particular magical item. You learn this infusion multiple times. Doing so, choose a different magic from the table. At the table, items entry tells you whether or not it requires attunement. Okay. Replicate magical item. Alchemy jug, bag of holding, cap of water breathing, cloak of the manta ray, goggles of night, lantern of revealing, rope of climbing, sending stones. Okay, so boots of elven kind, striding and springing, winterlands, and this is all 12th level Artificer stuff. Braces of archery, brooch of shielding, cloak of elven kind. Gloves of missile snaring, gloves of thievery, hat of disguise, helm of telepathy, medallion of thoughts, ring of jumping, mind shielding, and then 16th level Artificer, amulet of health, boots of levitation, boots of speed. I kind of feel like this is very skewed in the wrong direction. especially if it still requires attunement, then all of these infusions, while very good on their own, I feel that all of them are about 6 levels too late. I feel that, okay, some of these items, at least in the games that I've played, you get access to a lot of these items, or you just have spells that allow you to do them anyway. Maybe not level 6 to have gloves of missile snaring or gauntlets of ogre power, but boots of elven kind, bracers of archery, brooch of shielding, I've seen those in a lot of games, all by at least by level 5, and you get them well within level 8. And I feel like sacrificing your infusions to at level 12 to get these, and at level 16 to get these, kind of by that late game, if you don't already have those kind of magic items and you are not already focused on creating items to do that, I really feel like this is a waste. I feel like the level cap is way too high for the quality of item that we're getting. Resistant armor, you choose resistant type. Returning weapon, magic weapon gains a +1 to attack and damage rolls, and then returns to the wielder's hand immediately after using it to make a ranged spell. That does not require a level limit. Thank you. Yes. Returning daggers, boomerang, battle axe, whatever you want to call it. Yes, please. Returning weapon, that is fantastic, especially if you get like 2 of them and you just keep chunking them. That's kind of awesome. A++ on that one. And that's it for the infusions. Not bad. I feel that I'm really looking forward to seeing these guys put more out there in terms of more stuff in here, because I get that this is playtest material, but this is okay. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, and okay, 4, 4, technically 5 and 6. There are 6 of these infusions that require a level cap, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 out of 8, all of them have a level prerequisite. Technically 5 out of 8, because you can pick this up at first level or as soon as you get them. It's not that big a deal. But I just kind of feel that having a level prerequisite on what makes the Artificer cool, the customization of it all, having so many of them be level dependent is kind of a letdown, in my opinion anyway. New spell, Arcane Weapon, Transmutation, 1 bonus action, channel arcane energy into 1 simple or martial weapon you're holding, and choose 1 damage type. Until the spell ends, you deal an extra damage type of this level. The weapon is not magical. It becomes magical with the spell's duration. As a bonus action, you can choose the damage type. You can change the damage type, choosing from the options above. Whenever you cast this spell at 3rd level or higher, you can maintain your concentration of the spell for up to 8 hours. But this is level 1. Is that a typo? Because I feel that having to wait until level 3rd level spells, which, unless I'm terribly off, yeah, that would be like 9th level. That's kind of anyway, what I'm thinking about is an elemental lightsaber, honestly. Like, you have a weapon, you do the arcane weapon and like crackles with like lightning energy. You attack somebody with it, and then you just you change it into like fire and start wielding like that. That's pretty cool. The fact that it doesn't get any more powerful and instead you can just maintain it longer, that's a bit of an issue. I feel like that's kind of blech. Optional rule for multi-classing, not really relevant in my opinion. Okay, looking at this overall, I do think this is a little bit better than the original Artificer playtest material that they put out. I think that it has some interesting ideas. I get that it's still playtesting, but as it stands right now, there is still a lot wrong with this class. The spells, Love them. I love the fact that they've changed the spells. I love the fact that they've given us cantrips. I love the fact that they've given us a way to deal damage with magic. I like the idea of the whole you have little mechanical stuff that allows you to cast the spells. It's not your typical spell casting focus. I think that's cool. I think that's neat. I don't think they needed to get rid of the gunslinger. That's not just because I'm a fan of the gunslinger. It's because guns are already exist in D&D. They exist in the Forgotten Realms. They have existed in multiple games before. I don't see why, and they even give you the option of using proficiency in firearms. I don't see why you got rid of the gunslinger. Maybe optimize what his special power shots could do, but getting rid of it entirely feels like us leaning too far in the opposite direction. Currently my favorite of all this is the Alchemist. The Alchemist has amazing abilities. The Alchemist has really overpowered in terms of healing and dealing damage because of the way they're able to do stuff. You're able to make potions for half the cost. Yes, please. That will fix so many fights. That will fix so many problems. The Homunculus not doing any more damage, and the turret's dealing no more damage than they do. It's a little bit of a problem. Maybe they'll fix that in future things because it makes no sense that whenever you start at level 3 and whenever you end up at level 20, that what you make there only is healthier. Makes no sense whatsoever. They would have a little more kick to them. Unless you can tell your homunculus to pick up one of the wands that you created and shoot it, or you could like attach a wand or something like that to your turrets and it just deals more damage. I don't know. But let's see here. You get a maximum of 8 infusions known, which that's cool. That's fine. You start out with 3. You end up going all the way up to 8. That's good. But there are only 8. So what's the point? If I feel like there needs to be at least twice as many infusions. If you are just going to keep leveling up and just level up all the way up to level 20, you just get all of the infusions, even ones you may not even use. Because like the bright weapon with what infusion was that? The radiant weapon? Radiant weapon, yeah. You get a +1 to attacking, does not change at all after level 8, never becomes a +2. And you might be able to blind them. I don't see me ever using that. Like, it gives me a +1 on the weapon, which is fine. That's very, very good. But I immediately also have enhanced weapon, which gives me a +2 later on. And considering most things have decently high constitution at later levels, I don't see blind ever really being able to go off. Replicate magic, sure, I'm going to get 8 levels of them. And if I was to go in wholeheartedly just into replicating items at for only 8 infusions, it still doesn't I still don't see myself using that very much. Okay, let's assume that I use none of level up ones and I end up getting enhanced defense, enhanced weapon. Actually, I'm starting to realize I actually got my math totally wrong. Yeah. Ignore what I said about but it's still there's still way too many that require a level. But still, returning weapon, enhanced armor. That's 3. I get those 3 right off the bat. I make myself better armor, I make myself better weapon, and I have a return back weapon. Okay, if I just go whole hog into the next 5 just being magical items, bag of holding would be 1. Alchemy jug would probably be another. If I don't already have dark vision, I'm playing my character wrong. Nothing else in that. Then I have to wait till 12th level to be able to pick up any more. Boots of Elven Kind, maybe. Braces of Archery, only if I'm ranged. Cloak of Elven Kind, again, good for stealthy, but you're really pushed to be more of a intelligence spellcasty person. You're not really encouraged to be the shooty person. Hat of Disguise, Winged Boots. Again, if I just spent my next 5 all on other stuff, which would take me from level 4 to level 20, and just picking up items, there's not enough here. There's not enough here as far as infusions go to really be able to flesh out what the infusions could possibly do. I do like Arcane Weapon. I do not like how your damage never goes up from it. Despite casting it at a higher level, you're just able to concentrate on it longer. Whoop-de-doo. Because I really see you. If you're like higher levels, why wouldn't you have a magical weapon? Why wouldn't you have found some way to get a better weapon? Or just infuse other weapons that you have? Because I don't think simpler martial weapon you're holding, choose 1 damage. Okay, can you stack that? Can you stack the enhanced weapon on top of the arcane weapon? Can you do that? That would be really cool if you could, because I know that you can't cast enhanced weapon on. You won't be able to cast enhanced weapon on 2 weapons to be able to dual wield them. You won't be able to cast returning weapon on 2 weapons, which would be cool, but you can't. Replicate magic items, so and so. There needs to be a lot more in terms of infusions. I feel that the turrets and the homunculus needs to be able to scale in damage, not just health, with you as a character. Fortified Position 1 prototype, really good for the Artillerist. Chemical Savant and Alchemical Mastery, really, really cool. Like, that is the highlight of this entire class. Yeah, Alchemist spells, tools of the trade, Soul of the Artifice. Again, it's cool, I guess. But Soul of the Artifice, there needs to be a lot going on for you to get that many attunement items that still fit you, that you can still actively use. Not just like, well, I have my 6 rings, I have the Infinity Gauntlet, and it counts as 6 attunement slots, so therefore I have a +6 to saving throws, which is good, but I don't know. The Soul of the Artifice just feels very, very weak. Not weak, it feels mismanaged, in my opinion. Spell storing item, I only see it for 2 spells. I see it for Cure Wounds, I see it for Invisibility. Now, you might be able to get more. I think Melf's Acid Arrow is a level 2. And Shield, although Shield would be pretty good, and Scorching Ray would be pretty good. Shatter would be pretty good. To just be able to cast that 10 times, that's pretty awesome. But really, outside of that, I don't know. I feel like they're taking steps in the right direction, but I feel like if they need to hold back and do some balancing between the old and the new, and not just scrap everything of the old and just make something all with the new. I would absolutely run this with the Gunslinger effect from the original. All in all, I think this is pretty good, and wow, I've been talking for about an hour. Anyway, tell me what you guys think down below with what you think of these changes to the Artificer. I think it has a lot of potential. Again, steps in the right direction. And I get that this is still all playtest material, so if anybody at Wizards is listening, give us more options for the infusions and make your turrets or homunculus scale up with you, not just in health. Change those things. I see this being a fantastic, formidable class to be reckoned with. And that's pretty much all I got for now. So, comment what you think below. If you want to join us on Discord, if you want to check me out on Patreon so you can see more D&D content out in the future, links are down in the description below. See you next time.